Hi everyone, I'm Amaury Leroux, Marketing Manager at R&S Cloud Cybersecurity. Thank you for attending this webinar. We are very happy to welcome you for this presentation, and we hope it will meet your expectations. You will be joined by Gilles Darpa, VP Sales at R&S Cloud Cybersecurity, and Jean-Philippe Rantin, Head of Pre-Sales at R&S Cloud Cybersecurity.
Hello.
This session is recorded. You will receive a link to the replay of this session during the day. For the fluidity of this webinar, we propose you to answer all your questions at the end of the presentation. You can ask them throughout the webinar in the chat lab. Now, I just have to leave the hand to Gilles to start the presentation. Have a great webinar.
Thank you, Amaury. So, I'm Gilles Darpa. I'm the VP Sales of R&S Cloud Cybersecurity. And so the agenda of today will be what are the development and trends in cloud usage, cloud regulations, which are quite a bunch of lots of new things on that. Then we will present our solution, R&S Cloud Protector, which is a WAF in SaaS mode and with managed services. Then there will be a demo and question and answers. So what are the development and trends in cloud usage? I would say that, first of all, what happens, why do you go to digital transformation, is mainly to accelerate the time to market of your innovations and provide new solutions to your clients faster. To do so, you generally put in place DevOps principles, which means you adopt agility in developments, and you integrate the team of development, operations, and security in one in order to deploy more rapidly. And of course, you take advantage of the cloud, which is interesting for you in terms of automation and in terms of, I would say, workload, going up in workload rapidly. And of course, one of the main things in terms of security, due first of all to regulations, which, for example, with the GDPR regulation, you are compelled to introduce security by design. That means at the development level, you should integrate security, but also it is also driven by an economic interest, which is that the later you detect a problem, the most expensive it is for you. So it is also your interest to find the flaws and the threats in security the earlier as possible. Now, these trends are very classical. What does it mean for a CISO? What are the concerns of a CISO? First of all, there is an expansion of attacks, which is quite great, and we will see just after. Then the regulation, for example, British Airways has been fined for GDPR at 22 million euro due to the fact that they were hacked and that the traffic of their visitors was driven to another website, which was an hacker website, and they had a fine of 22 million. So it's not just something which is virtual; it's begin real. And in France, for example, the Google was fined 50 million euro for non-respect of cookie regulations. And the last point is a problem of, I would say, people. I mean, you don't have the necessary people available to take care about your security. These are the three main things, which of course goes in favor of outsourcing security and going to the cloud. Now, in terms of security, first of all, classical but still true, web application attacks are increasing, and it's 80% in 1 year only. Second point is that, let's say 30% of the global attacks are DDoS first, and network DDoS first. And secondly, 70% of course of the rest is application attacks. And in that case, 2/3 of the application attacks are represented by simple and very simple SQL injections. But the last third remaining, over the 70%, is in fact much more sophisticated attacks. And generally, they are targeting, let's say, sensitive data. And the last point is that probably 50%, 55% of the companies will have a cloud strategy implemented by 2025. So that means that this trend is on the way and nothing will stop. So what is the interest of a SaaS mode and having an application security and so web application firewall in SaaS mode? First of all, of course, is to protect you against SQL injections, which is twofold, we said, but also against more sophisticated attacks, like, for example, encrypted attacks, attacks which are encrypted several times, for example, but there are some others one, which are also zero-day attacks, which are probably the most dangerous. That means that your web application firewall should be able to provide you with a security which enables to stop zero-day attacks. And so that means that it must be thought to do that. And not all the web application firewall in SaaS mode are thought in that way. Second point, the digital transformation, of course, favors the attack surface. Why? Because you are deploying lots of web applications in the cloud and outside, in fact, your own company. And two more things. The first one is that the CISOs want to have visibility on their application traffic, and currently it's not really the case, especially if the application are not inside the information system of the company. And the last point is that the operational teams, due to lack of people, don't have really time to take care about security, or less time to take care about security. And moreover, they've got lots of technologies to master, which means at one point, everything cannot be done by your internal teams, just for a question of time and also competencies for time to time, depending on your size of organization. Now, cloud regulations. There is lots of things new in that field, and especially in the field of, as we are European mainly here on the table, around the extraterritorial laws. So first of all, a reminder, what is an extraterritorial law? There are countries which are applying extraterritorial laws, which are the US, the Russians, China, Israel, for example, but there are also others. And let's take for the US here, we've got the two most common one and most known one, which are the Patriot Act, which are for Terrorism Act. And the terrorism vision of the US is very large. That means if I am a terrorist and I call my girlfriend, she's not a terrorist, she will be put under investigation. And then my girlfriend called her mother, but the mother also will be put into investigation. And this was what was denounced by Snowden in 2013, in 2013. And then you've got the Cloud Act, which is here for what is linked to the law. That means there is a judge allowing to have access to the data. What should be understood is that the data centers and where the data are standing could be in the US, but also could be in France, could be in Asia, could be in I don't know, in Riyadh, wherever they stand, or Frankfurt, wherever they stand. And so that means that and as soon as a company has got its headquarters in the US or in China or Russia, they are compelled to provide the information wherever the data is located. First point. Now, second point, there is an important judgment that has arisen in July 2020 by the European Court of Justice, which is called Schrems 2. So Mr. Schrems is a citizen, a European citizen, which has attacked on the European Court of Justice and denouncing the Privacy Shield. Privacy Shield in the past authorizes the fact that you can store data in the US with the same level of security than as if it is stored in Europe. But this is finished since July 2020 because the European Court of Justice said that due to two other regulations in the US called FISA and Executive Order, which allows, in fact, the intelligence of the US to have access to any data wherever they are stored in the world, whether stored, whether in transit. And they said this is not allowing to be compliant with GDPR. And they said no data which are in a data center of a company of which headquarters is in the US can be considered GDPR compliant. And so the only problem is that they say you should add additional security measures, and they should be defined by each national security agency and controlled and coordinated at the European Data Protection Board. Currently, they have issued first facts, which are just saying, okay, you should do it. And there are all the national security agencies and with the EDPB are in fact coordinating to provide a doctrine on Schrems 2 implementation. That means technical implementations for mid 2022 or somewhere in 2022. They are working on it since now 2 years, about 1.5 years now, and since 2 years in July, and they are on the way to provide it probably mid of 2022. And they will be saying what are the technical solutions that you should put in place in order to be compliant for GDPR when you are using a cloud, a public cloud. Now, what could be these solutions? Because of course we are talking with them, and there are in fact three main points. First point, you are on site. Well, of course, if you've got a security policy, and you will be compliant because you control everything inside your company, and so at that point, no problem. But of course, as we're talking about the fact that you are going to be more agile and you are deploying in the cloud, this is not the point. Now, when you are deploying in the cloud, there could be two main points. The first point is, are you taking care about databases, which is point 2, or are you taking care about documents? If you are taking care about databases, you must have to be compliant an hoster which is headquartered in the European Union, and you must have a WAF which is headquartered in the European Union with their data centers in European Union. Why? Because extraterritorial laws, as said before, allows to have access to any data in any data centers when your headquarter is located in a country which applies extraterritorial laws. And so this is the only way to be compliant in the case of databases. And why it is the only case? Because when you take data in a databases, you go directly in memory. And that means that you are not protected about what is called the service. That means the hoster. The hoster can read the data in memory and then, of course, give it to the intelligence that that are requesting it. So that means that currently, as you are not able to encrypt data in memory, or let's say encrypt data in memory in an industrial way, because there are some demos and labs things done, but currently it's not industrial. You are not able to do, and the only way to be compliant is to have your hosters and your WAF in Europe. If it is for documents, of course, European headquartered WAF and European hoster in Europe make it compliant. But you can also, let's say for Office 365, you have also some solutions which enable to encrypt the data, encrypt documents, and these documents, even though they are on a non-EU hoster, will be compliant because they will be protected at rest, that means when they are stored, and against the service, that means also they cannot be, these documents cannot be uploaded in memory. So these are the two ways that you can be protected. And now you've got the last way where you can be protected is if your data are fully anonymized and pseudonymized, and you block and you hide your IP and geolocalization. And when in that case, you can put every data in any hoster, whatever they are European or non-European, and you will be GDPR compliant because your data is fully anonymized and fully pseudonymized. But this means a great effort at the development level. And I would say that very, very few companies are doing that currently because it means a huge burden on the development teams. But it can be done. I have already seen a few clients doing that. Now, what are the sanctions? The main one to be to have in mind is that the fact you can have a penalty which is 20 million per incident or 4% of your global worldwide turnover. So that means we are not joking. It's quite a huge amount. So if your company is doing 1 billion euro of turnover, we speak about 4% of 1 billion euro, so it's 40 million already. So that's not joking too much. So, and currently, clearly, the different national security agency around Europe are beginning to inflict fine, like we have seen with British Airways in the UK, but also in France and Google 50 million, and also in Germany, for example, with BSI, which has done the same thing. Now, what are the interest of a WAF in SaaS mode? I would say that the first point is the fact that you have the benefits of all the security of a WAF. That we have 20 years of experience. What makes our value is the fact that we have a decision tree security, and that we can add parameters at the level of each brick of the decision tree. We have made it much more simple in Cloud Protector by defining 3 levels of security, which are standard to highest and going through a second level. That means you choose a level of security, and the more security you put, the more ability you have to have a false positive, and we're going to see it extensively how we take care about that. And the less level of security you put, of course, the less false positive you have, but the less you are protected. And of course, our solution is 100% European hosting, and also we are certified by our national security agency, ANSSI, in France, which means that we have a good level of security. But our solution is sovereign, really. Now, we are sufficiently proud of our solutions to announce that we have a level of SLA, of availability of the solution, of 99%, 95%, not 95%, which means a very high level of availability. For example, Salesforce in their contracts are saying that they ensure you to have an availability of 95% only. And we are so proud of our availability that we also accept penalties, which can be 5% of the monthly subscription for each hour of unavailability, which means we are really confident in our SLA. Now, the interest, of course, of a WAF as a service is a reverse TCO, because we take care about the infrastructure. We take care, you are able to scale instantaneously. If, for example, you are in the Christmas time sales and you have a big increase of your sales, you've got a peak of traffic, we will follow your peak of traffic. Of course, we protect against the top 10 WAF, but also against zero-day attacks. So not only the basic top 10 attacks of the OWASP, but also for unknown attacks. And last point, you can deploy immediately. Here we've got two examples. One is an hospital based in near the US, in fact, not in the US, but near the US. This hospital has got 3,000 people, and they are protecting 100 applications and not 10 applications as written in the slide. And why hospitals are very critical? Because currently, when you look at the numerical hospital, the digital hospital, which is the trend that are taken by the hospitals, with a certification with 7 levels for digital hospitals. They are bringing a lot of new services available for their clients, on through the web. And that means that, for example, you can take a date, a meeting, for in your hospital through the web. You can have all the examinations through the web. You can have also have access to all your data through the web. That means that lots of personal data and lots of sensitive data are exposed by hospitals outside. And so we have a big need of protection against web attacks. And this company has chosen to manage by themselves. So they are using our solution in mode SaaS, but they are doing the management of the false positive. We are going to see that with the managed services later, by themselves. And now we've got another example, which is a major European car leaser, which is big car leaser, which is 1.2 million vehicles treated, and they have 1,200 applications, and they are protecting their applications with us at all levels. That means with anti-DDoS, network, and applications, but also, of course, application security. And so also the solution offers them a saving in bandwidth of 50%, because in the past they were hosting by themselves the solution, and as they were not protecting correctly because they were in a transparent mode, so not blocking anything, they were flooded by lots of bad traffic. And so that means that their infrastructure were overloaded due to that. And due to our solutions, they reduce that of 50% of bandwidth, which is quite a huge interest for them, because they are still hosting their backends, so their applications, but we are taking care about the application security in an outsourced mode and in managed services mode. That means we take care about the false positive for them. We take care about requalifying the application when they update them. So how to implement Cloud Protector? You just have to do a redirection of your DNS. So it takes 10 minutes. For every WAF in the cloud, it's like that. So let's say everybody is doing that, and it's not differentiating for anybody. Now, what we ensure, of course, is to provide a solution with the level of security and to take care about the upgrade, about the scalability, and also this is very classical. Now, you've got 3 levels of security, which enables you to put a standard security, advanced security, high security. The higher the level of security, the higher the number of false positives. That means people who are blocked, but who should be accessing the system. And so that means that here, whatever solution you choose in terms of WAF as a service, the story about the reduction of the false positive will always be the same for everybody. That means that nobody has a technology which enables to reduce to 0 the false positive. And so what we say is that our technology enables to give you a level of protection very high if you take high security, or much more lower if you are protecting an application which is not critical. But in the end, you have false positive that you have to take care. And the second point is that in the end, when you are doing an update of your applications, you must requalify your application in order to avoid to have new false positive appearing. Of course, we provide you lots of dashboards, number of requests, number of security events, attack detected, response time, bandwidth, etc. Here you've got an example of a report, which is a report we'll see in the demo of lots of the attacks. You can have it by website, or you can have it globally, and during the timeline. So what is the contribution of management services? Management services, as we said, a WAF, you install a WAF. As it is in SaaS mode, you don't have to take care about infrastructure. You have generic security policies that enables you a level of security, but you still have things to do. In fact, the first thing is to qualify the application that you are putting behind protecting with these applications of SaaS with application that you are protecting with your WAF in a SaaS mode. That means that you need to see if and to detect if you have a false positive and reduce them at the minimum. This is called the build phase. And whatever solution you deploy, you must do that. And then you've got the run phase. In the run phase, you adapt your security policies, you look at the log analysis, you look, of course, at the false positive, but there are still some of them. And you have also access requests. An access request is when somebody is blocked and he's considering that he's not blocked it should not be blocked. And so he asks you by an access request, I want to access. That means that somebody must be behind to take care about that. This is an access request. And then you have also to do in the run management, the requalification of the updated application. And as you are in a DevOps mode, you can have an update of your application, major update of your applications. That could be less than twice per year or much more than twice per year. So it depends on what the companies are doing. And so we take care in managed services of this requalification of updates, which main aim is to reduce the false positive. And last point, so we do this, all of this in working hours. And in non-working hours, we take care whatever happens, and it is also the case if it's not in managed services. We take care about all the P1 support. That means that the Cloud Protector production platform is blocked. And if it is the case, that means it's not working, we are finding a solution. We must find a solution in less than 1 hour, whatever the time is it, and whenever is it. So as we said, this is a build phase, let's say, details. So we deploy in learning mode, we go in an alert, we look at the alert that has been generated, we create the exceptions, we validate let's say in a sandbox mode the policy that we have created. Then we go to see you as a client, asking you, do you agree on that? And we go in a blocking mode, and then the application is qualified. And if you've got 20 applications, we do it with 20 applications. The run mode, we provide you a monthly safety report of course, we take care about the access requests, as we said. We manage all the false positive, which is probably the biggest part. And the last biggest part is the major update of the application. That means that each time you update your application, web application, we requalify the application. What is the economic model, business model behind? So very simple. The enterprise level is defined as I've got one website, 20 megabytes of clean bandwidth, meaning your business bandwidth and not your DDoS bandwidth. Because of course we can have 20 megabytes of business bandwidth and suddenly you've got a DDoS at 100 gigabytes. We don't make you pay more for that. It just gave us 20 megabytes, let's say business bandwidth. And we take care about the solution. And this has a price, which is very simple to define. Bandwidth, number of applications. If, for example, you say to us, oh, I've got 10 applications and I don't know my bandwidth, I take 20 megabytes. And suddenly what happens, it's in fact, you missed, in fact, it's not reality, it's 50 megabytes. You will not be blocked, but we will go back to you and say, okay, you are over the bandwidth more than 5% of the time during the month, so you must go to 50 megabytes, please update. And so that means that even if you are misleading in that, we will say you rapidly, okay, we will not block you, we will not block your clients, but we will say you update. And we've got a small version, which is business without anti-DDoS, because some clients ask without network anti-DDoS, and which is doing very basic things, but for very small websites, it's a useful solution. Now, the pricing model of the managed services are very simple. You've got the bill phase, which is 30% of the subscription. If your subscription is 100, you pay one time off 30% of it for us to qualify the bill phase. And then you've got the run phase, which is a percentage of the yearly subscription based on the level of service. And we've got 3 levels of service. First level, you say us, okay, I just want you to provide me the monthly secure reports and take care about the access requests in working hours. But we as a client take care about the false positives and the requalification of the applications. In that case, you will pay 56%, sorry, of the 100% of the 100 euro of subscription per year. This is not the most common offer, frankly. The most common offer are the tier 2 and tier 3 offers, which are often taken, meaning that here we take care for both of them of the false positive and about the requalification of the applications that you have been updating. And in the tier 2, you do not have the right to do more than 2 major updates per year per application. And in tier 2, you can have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, whatever number of updates of your applications. So clearly, a tier 3 solution is much more for a company which is really in a DevOps mode, advanced DevOps modes, and tier 2 are for companies whether which are a very classical deployment mode or which are doing DevOps but with not too much update of their applications per year, and which ensures, so the model is very simple because it is expressed as a percentage of the subscription of the yearly subscription. You've got a one-time off bill phase, and then you got a yearly run phase, which is computed like that. So very, very simple to have in mind. And now I give the hand to Jean-Philippe, who will show you how the solutions looks like.
Yep. Now let's go to the demo. Looking for the page. Okay. So now the demo. So the aim of the demo is actually to show you and to resume the action that you will need between the build and the run phase. So in the build phase, the first thing that you will start to achieve is to actually create your application. So when you create or when you define the application, let me first log in. Action. Okay, here we go. So when you first create your application, you will have to define a couple of information. so the name of the application, and then you will have the IP address of the backend to be defined. If I go to here, application configuration, and here on this one, you can see that once the application is defined, you have the direct IP address of the application, and you will have as well a DNS CNAME that will be given for the created application. So that's actually the DNS CNAME. Once the application is enabled, you have the green light here that you will be able to use in order to configure your DNS server. This DNS configuration, you will as well receive it as the administrator. So you will receive an email with this DNS information that you can just take, copy, and paste into your DNS operation. So once this is done, and the DNS is actually starting to forward traffic to the Cloud Protector, you will have this green light that will indicate that Cloud Protector can actually see traffic coming through. Then in terms of configuration, you are able to activate some more options. So we can work with an external CDN. So here you will be able to define whether or not you would like to activate an external CDN and work with it. If you don't have this external CDN, we do a bit of cache. So you can actually activate the cache for your solution, for the application that you will configure. It will be here, and you can clear as well the cache manually at the same place. Finally, you have as well the SSL to be put in place, because the Cloud Protector is actually doing the SSL termination. And once the SSL termination is completed or operational, I would say, so you have to import the certificate for that. You will have as well here the green light saying that, okay, we can actually terminate the session and replay the session or reconnect to the backend successfully. And finally, here you will be able to define the security level for your specific application. So here you have the name of the application. Here we have again the SSL configuration that you can activate or deactivate. And here you will find the security configuration. Gilles mentioned it already, but still in the build phase, you can choose between different level of security. And the higher you go into the security level, the more scanning engine you are using. So you are basically increasing the risk of having false positive. So we usually, you can actually choose high security level for very sensitive backends or applications, when you can maybe stick to advanced or standard security level for very basic or unsensitive type of application. So this is actually a configuration that you can have or that you can put per application. You can see here that I have all my different applications, and I can actually choose the specific application in order to apply a specific security level for this specific application. Once it is done, usually what we do in the build phase is to choose not to block straight the application. So we can either start with a report and do not block phase, or we can start as well with a report and block with bypass, which if there is any user blocked by the new rule that you put in place, he will be able to click on a specific button that will be put on his web page in order to request access. So that's basically the request access that you have as well to manage once the service is on and put in place. And this is something that we offer to actually help with during the run phase that we suggest to manage on your behalf when you are subscribing to the managed services. So this is the building phase. So let's say that you start with the report and blog, everything is okay. Then you can just come back here and finally report unblocked, and it will start to generate traffic and generate as well incidents based on what is reported. Based on that incident, you will be able to create some rules or exceptions if you need to, and it will start actually to generate as well log into your dashboard. So if you go on your dashboard, you have the ability to look globally for all your application, or you can stick to one application. And the first thing that Cloud Protector is actually giving you is insight on the traffic. So you will have here the number of requests globally processed by the service compared to the number of attacks as well that have been detected. So we did notice that usually when we talk with our customers, they have some issues to give us actually a number of requests per second that the application is receiving or dealing with. So this is as well one thing that the Cloud Protector service is offering you, is actually visibility on the traffic. Other type of report that you can get is on the performance tab. So if you go on the performance tab now, you will be able to as well trigger either global or specifically on one application. You can change the scale if you want. It can be minutes, hours, days. And here you will be able to choose as well which type of response code that you would like to dig into. So if you like, or if you're interested into everything, then you can keep all, or you can maybe only check access denied type of requests if you want, like the 500. So this is really up to you. Then you refresh the report, and here you have throughput report based on the number of requests received on the application. So it is very accurate per date. So you again, it gives you more visibility on what is happening. Here you have a response time report dashboard that is given, so you know either in global or for a specific application what have been the response time in a specific date or time. So that will maybe can be interesting if you have any attack or specific attack on an application, or if you have a specific slowdown in terms of response time, to see if there is anything wrong with your application. Then here we have a volume and rate based throughput. So you can see all the request throughput versus the response throughput. So that's another report that gives you as well insight on what is happening on your network or your traffic. And finally, here you will see the bandwidth saving. So this is when you activate the cache. You can see if the cache has been performant and how much bandwidth you actually saved using the service. But then maybe you're gonna ask, what about the security? So you do have a security tab proven as well provided in the system that will give you insight on all the attacks that occurred on your platform against your application. Again, here you will be able to choose between looking for everything or looking for a specific application. You still do have the scale that will allow you to choose between minutes, hours, and days if you need to. And here you have a filter that gives you access to the type or the family attack that you would like to specify. So either you have the global report and then you have everything. Either maybe the backend is specifically sensitive for SQL injection, then you can choose the SQL injection here, and dynamically the report will change and show you all the events that happened in the time frame that you choose, specifically on the SQL injection. So this is as well another insight given by the report and by the fact that you will subscribe to our service, and all of this will be given to you via the platform. So once the build phase is done, you do have all those reports, and during the build, actually, our let's say help is actually to give sense to all those information and to manage the platform on your behalf. So managing the platform is actually to go into the different settings, like accepting the access control. So you can create, for example, specific access control for specific path on your application. So you can choose who got access to this specific path. You can filter based on that. You can see here the different countries. You can see here the IP address reputation as well that you can enable, and you can activate as well the rate limitation that will avoid any let's say application or layer 7 DDoS type of attack. So we can manage that with you as well. Same with the URL we're writing. Sometimes you will have a website with different alias or different path that you would need to manage in order to redirect correctly the traffic from legacies to a new website or a new application. So this is again something that we can do for you. So we will help building the different rules with the URL rewriting, rewriting that you will need to achieve by adding this rule in this area. Another settings that you have here is actually access to the logs. So you can actually collect the different logs here per application and check what are the logs and the alerts. So this is currently in the platform a download option that you have. In the new platform, you will see that you can actually preview all the logs, and I will show you as well the new console right after. Finally, you will have here some advanced parameters that are available in the tool that we help as well with the managed services to be configured. So for every single application, you can actually improve the level of security by enabling or disabling specific ciphers. So you can actually choose which one are allowed within your company and which one are not. You can choose which TLS version you would like to use or achieve. For example, we can do TLS 1.2 with your backend, while you will actually enable TLS 1.3 from the user to our service. So you can, without changing anything on your backend, you can actually improve the level of security of your that you provide to your users. Finally, here you have the alerts tab. So this is part of the run process. When you will be able to see or to receive the different alerts and manage exceptions. So you can actually create exceptions on specific path and specific extension of patterns here, as well as create here an updates from or directly from the alert. Create here the exception. So this is the platform by itself. What you should know is that everything that you can that you see here can actually be managed using API. So you can choose either to use the console that we have here, the web interface that we have here, with the dashboard that we are offering, or use API in order to access the platform. So using the API is very simple. You can see here in the account tab that you can manage all the accounts having access to the platform. You can create an API dedicated account and token. We do have SDK documentation that will help you to actually create and build API requests going to the platform. And whatever you see here or whatever I just showed you are actually available using the API. If you want to manage any other accounts besides the API account, it is actually on the account tab that you can see here, with all the different users that you have on the platform and the different role that you can choose for the user. So the role are actually either the super administrator, he's able to do everything, or it can be just an administrator on the specific applications. Or finally, you can have the monitoring role. You cannot change anything, but you can actually access all the analytics, the logs, and view the settings, but it cannot change anything. So it is quite simple. The goal is really to be straightforward, to have a very simple console, and to give you the power of cleaning the pipe or your pipe, the traffic on HTTP, HTTPS, as well as the API, without too much trouble to put it in place. So if you have a quick overview of the new platform, so you see here, you can actually click on see the new platform. So the big change is that instead of having a flat view of the different settings, you actually start the home page by application. So you will actually choose which application settings you would like to dig into. So if I choose CP Demo, which is my first app, then I will have access to the configuration that we've seen just before. And now on the left side, I have a menu that will actually lead me through the configuration of my application. So that's exactly the same settings that we've seen before. Here we have all the security settings that we've seen as well before. And regarding the logs, now it's a bit different, as I told you. You can see here that now with the logs, we can have a preview of the logs. You know, we don't need to actually download the file in order to have a preview. Same as well for the traffic and for the different alerts that you have on the platform. So that's the new thing. So yeah, I mean, you can actually flip from one to another. It's now very easy. You have to go back to the old version or go back to the new interface. Whether, I mean, depending on what you are looking for in terms of information, you can actually change the interface and use the one that you prefer. So that's it for the demo. I hope it was accurate for you. I tried to somehow showed you what is needed in terms of build, what is needed in terms of run, and what and how we can help you actually to operate and to manage your web service and applications using the Cloud Protector. So I don't know if there is any question.
Yes, we have some. Is it possible to disable security engine for a specific URL?
So it is actually no. You cannot right now today disable one of the engine from the security set. So you have here, as I showed you, a set of. Oops, now I have to go to application. So we have here a set of security level. So built into this different set of security level, you have multiple engine. And you cannot today trigger one specific engine from the other. Okay, you have to choose the level of security. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Can I secure applications in my own infrastructure, either at my hosting provider or in the public cloud?
Yes. So the Cloud Protector, as far as you can actually redirect your traffic using the DNS configuration to the Cloud Protector. The backend that is after the Cloud Protector doesn't really matter. We can actually redirect the traffic to a specific IP, whatever the IP is, either in the cloud or on-premise.
Do you provide some templates to help us on API configuration?
Yes, we do. So we have example in the SDK documentation. And we do have as well a presentation that leads you or guides you through the configuration of the API.
This is a question about GDPR. How can you ensure that I will be GDPR compliant?
So as we said, in fact, you need to be GDPR compliant. You need to have your hosting in a European headquartered hoster. If you have databases, if you have documents, you can have it whether on a European hosting. European headquartered hoster or non-European headquartered hoster, but for the WAF, as we open the traffic, you must have an hoster which is in Europe. Really.
Okay. Another question: can I force a certain type of certificate?
Yes, you can force a certificate, so you can actually upload your own certificate. And force the usage of this specific certificate.
Okay, so if you have some other questions, please do not hesitate. I will wait 1 minute more. Okay, so no other question. Thank you all for your participation. Thank you, Gilles.
Thank you.
Jean-Philippe, for this webinar. I hope it has met your expectations. You will receive the link for the video in the afternoon. I see you on the next webinar on November 25th for a webinar on DevSecOps.
Okay.
Thank you all and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.